on with this week's edition of Good Policies. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you, too.
Did that throw you off?
Not at all. It's Monday for me, man. No doubt about it.
That's because you had Labor Day off.
I know.
Mike with us here from Barrett Insurance Agency Tuesday mornings, and we talk about the wonderful, complex industry known as insurance.
Right. The industry everybody has to hate and loves to hate and has to have.
Hey, there has to be a love-hate relationship.
Hey, it is with me, too, like I always say.
All right, so we talk about everything, automobile, home, life insurance. We talk about all kinds of things here. Now, we can remember back a few years ago, I was actually deep into this here, working for the radio station with FCC and the National Weather Service here during Sandy and Irene.
Yeah.
And we have come into the hurricane season. Now, we all think we're safe up here in the Green Mountains, but, I mean, look what we went through with those two storms. And this one here is the biggest of the season so far. They're calling it mega.
This is historic, yeah. I mean,
it's down to a 3.
It's down to a Cat 3, but I mean, that's because it was over an island for almost 48 hours.
Yeah.
So still wasn't in the warm water, still wasn't getting that extra energy, still could. It could go back to a Cat 4 as it starts making its way again. So who knows what's going to happen. But the devastation, in the Bahamas, we have not even scratched the surface on what happened. But I'll tell you, the biggest loss that they have, obviously wind. The second biggest, water.
Yep.
All right. So that got me thinking, we should talk about hurricanes because, we talk about how insurance is responded to. So when a loss occurs, if something happens, I always say, if faulty wiring led to a fire, the cause of loss is fire. Fire is fire is fire. And if it's covered, it's covered. With hurricanes, if the cause of loss is water, sad to say, but water is water is water. So if you have no flood insurance, you have no coverage, okay? That's an inundation of water in what is normally a dry area.
Now, I'm going to ask you this here. I'm going to cut you off just for a brief second. We talk about the flood-prone areas, okay? We've talked about this many times. Along Passumpsic Valley, Passumpsic River Valley, Connecticut River Valley, up here, 122.
Yeah.
Those are prone to flooding, but
very much so.
Think about me at the north end of the east branch of the Passumpsic River. It's only about 6 feet wide. We don't think about flooding.
And honestly, everywhere can flood.
Right.
There's not a place, there's very few places that can't. I say that saying that it's probably unlikely that I would because I'm on top of a hill. In my house, literally, there's places for water to go all around. But I could still sustain a loss to flood. Nothing is ever impossible. So, truth be told, is that if you are in a participating town, regardless of whether you perceive yourself in a flood area or not, you can buy flood insurance. I don't care if you live on top of Finney Hill in Lindenville.
That's where I grew up.
You can buy flood insurance. All right. Not that you necessarily need it, but flood insurance is rated on the probability of risk. So it's going to be a lot cheaper down up there than it would be down here. But what brought this to mind is really people, when we had Irene come through, I had a lot of folks call my office and go, look, a hurricane is coming. Am I covered? And that is such a difficult answer because yes and no is the answer. Yes, you are, and no, you're not. So if the cause of loss to your house is wind, the good news is wind is wind is wind. So that's the silver lining on this discussion is that if you have homeowners insurance and wind is a covered peril, there's no different line for a tornado or for a hurricane.
Okay.
So some companies do put in different hurricane or different wind deductibles, especially mobile home companies will tend to do that. Usually a percentage versus a deductible that's normally a flat out, monetary deductible. But you would have that coverage. So if loss is due to wind, covered. If something comes down, causes a fire, fire is fire is fire, covered. Inundation of water, no flood insurance, no coverage.
Now, we've talked about this in the past, too, and I know folks that have had this complex little issue come about. Water runoff.
Flood. Water is water is water. Yes. Water never changes. Water is always... So there's only one type of loss that can occur with water other than leaking plumbing.
Okay.
I should probably say plumbing is a different animal, and obviously that's going to be covered almost all policies to some degree. But with water coming from the outside in, the only time that you're going to see that covered is if it's backup of sewers and drains coverage, and you have that specifically on your policy. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But so if you have backup of sewers and drains, most companies say, look, if you have a sump pump or if you have the French drains around your house and due to any number of reasons those failed, and that is the cause of why the water came into your home, you'd have coverage up to the limit of what backup of sewers and drains coverage, which can be $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. So you would have some coverage, but otherwise flood is flood.
So the difference then there with the backup, okay, is that the odds of it completely annihilating the home very slim.
Very slim. It's really
Okay.
only going to be a basement issue in most cases, but you figure people with finished basements. I mean, I grew up on Costa Ave in St. Johnsbury, and I remember there were times that, we just basically camped downstairs taking shifts on vacuuming water out of the basement. We had a sump pump, but sometimes not even that would be enough. When I lived at my first place in Waterford renting, there was at least 2 times where I'm like, okay, either A, I can call a company, have them come pump this out, or B, I can just call Fish and Game and have them stock the darn thing because it might be better. At least then I could catch something, have some dinner. So I've definitely had the impact of water in the basement, and it can be pretty devastating. So, even now, my house I have now does not get water in the basement. I still have everything up about minimum of 6 inches, just in case.
Well, I think most people do, though.
Yeah.
Get a random crack in the foundation or something like that, and we have, like the winter we had last year with all that
goodness.
snow melt. But
Yeah.
let's not get off the subject here. So folks should call their insurance agent and ask them, do I have this? I feel I should be prepared.
Right, if this is coming. Now, here's the bigger thing. Let's say Dorian took a trajectory that was bringing it spot on to us. All right, their companies will pull the trigger and say, done. We're no longer offering coverage. We are now saying new coverage is not to be written until we say it can be written again. Why?
Because people will
Who've
call
had
and
no
do it.
insurance want it and want that coverage for that event. Insurance is for the chance of, not the absolute of. So if you're calling because you know it's coming, sorry.
Yeah, so like
insurance
people-
companies have shut it down.
People, South Carolina, Virginia, they're
There's
probably
no
gonna get
property
it.
insurance being sold. There's no physical damage coverage being added to liability-only vehicles. I guarantee it. That's very common when these types of things happen.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, because it's a loss, and if people didn't have it, they want that coverage now. The odds are they're going to cancel it afterwards,
Right,
And
right.
the insurance company is going to had to have paid out. So,
And there's going to be a lot of slightly water-damaged vehicles for sale shortly.
yes, there will
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
Yes, there will be. All right, so folks can contact you.
Yes, give us a call, 748-5224. Visit us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Facebook, it is Monday, Jeff. Facebook, Google, and YouTube is all Barrett Insurance Agency. Of course, our website is thebarrettagency.com. And blah, blah, blah. I'm
And
done.
of course, part of the Magic Morning Crew Tuesday mornings.
Thank God I have some more coffee.
Thank you, Mike.
Have a great day.
Good policies on Magic in the Morning. Now music from